If you wish to speak to any item on the agenda or during the public comment portion of the meeting, please fill out a speaker card. Each person addressing the board shall have 3 minutes to complete his or her comments on each agenda item for which he or she has filled out a card. The chair has the discretion to determine or alter the time limits on any agenda item. The Board of County Commissioners requests that speakers appearing under the public comment section of the agenda limit their comments or presentations to matters relating to county business that are within the board's control, authority, and jurisdiction.
Okay, good morning. Our invocation this morning will be delivered by Pastor Jeff Smith from the O'Galley Church of Christ. Jeff, come on up.
Good morning, and would you bow with me, please? Gracious and almighty God, we come before you this morning thankful for your many blessings upon Brevard County, this beautiful place of ocean and lagoon, of rocket launches and quiet neighborhoods where so many of us are grateful to call home. We thank you for those who have answered the call to public service. Bless Chairman Altman, Vice Chair Adkinson, Commissioners Delaney, Goodson, Feltner, along with the county manager, the county attorney, and every staff member who labors on behalf of our county. Their tasks are not easy. Grant them wisdom as they balance care for your creation with the livelihoods of your people, fiscal prudence with fair treatment of those who serve, and the needs of today with the hopes of tomorrow. We also thank you for each resident who's come to this chamber today. Their presence is a gift to our county, a sign that self-government is alive and well. Let peace and decorum prevail in this room. Soften any hardness of heart, sharpen every mind, and guide every word spoken, that what is done here today may serve the common good. And I ask this in Jesus' name, and amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Pastor Smith, and thank you for what you do at O'Galley Church of Christ. I'm an O'Galleyite. I grew up in O'Galley. Lived there since the late 50s and really appreciate your church and what it does. It's right in my neighborhood, so I had to put in that plug for my local. Okay, our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Commissioner Adkinson.
Would everyone stand, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we will go to our resolutions. E1, resolution recognizing May 2026 as Citizen Engagement Month, District 1.
I think we have to approve the minutes first.
Okay. Do we have any amendments?
No.
I don't.
Okay. Sorry
I
about
didn't
that.
see any amendments.
Sorry
so,
about that.
Yeah.
And Commissioner Goodson, do we have to do something with
I'd like to make a
him?
motion, if I may.
Oh, yeah, if you can, yes.
Could I make a motion to allow Mr. Goodson to join us, Commissioner Goodson to join us by phone?
Second.
The motion is second. All in favor signify by saying yay.
Yay.
Yay. Opposed? It carries. Commissioner Goodson, thank you for being here. Okay, now we'll go to resolution recognizing
Thank you.
Citizens Engagement Month.
I just have a little something to say before we get into the resolution. I brought this item forward to recognize something that sits at the core of effective local government, an engaged and informed citizenry. This resolution affirms Brevard County's commitment to citizen participation, from Speak Up Brevard to advisory boards, public comment, and programs like the Citizens Academy. It also reflects our responsibility to consider citizen recommendations each month during Speak Up Brevard and highlight the role of Florida's Sunshine Law in ensuring transparency and access. Together, these efforts reinforce that informed and active participation strengthens accountability, improves decision-making, and builds public trust. To celebrate this month, I have invited District 1 resident Tony Schiflow, who speaks frequently at the Titusville City Council meetings, to share a few words after I read the resolution. Whereas in 2010, the citizens of Brevard County approved a referendum establishing a formal process for citizen engagement through the Citizen Effectiveness and Efficiency Recommendation Program, also known as the Susan B. Connolly Speak Up Brevard Program, originating from a Charter Review Commission recommendation. And whereas this referendum requires the Board of County Commissioners to annually consider citizen-submitted recommendations during the month of May, and whereas Brevard County recognizes its citizens as essential partners in governance, demonstrated through service on advisory boards, participation in public comment, and engagement through programs such as the Citizens Academy. And whereas Florida's Sunshine Law and public records statutes ensure transparency and protect the public's right to participate in government. And whereas active citizen engagement strengthens transparency, accountability, and effective decision-making and supports the county's mission and core values. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, that May 2026 is hereby declared Citizen Engagement Month, and encourage residents to become more involved and to actively participate in public meetings, advisory boards, and other avenues to strengthen local government. Done, ordered, and adopted in regular session this 21st of April, 2026. So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded. All in favor say yea.
Yay.
Nay. Opposed, nay. Carries unanimously.
All right, Miss Tony.
Good morning, and thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm Tony Schiffalo from Titusville, Florida. Some 50 years ago, my parents owned what is now 200 feet inside the NASA line on Playa Linda Beach. 50 years later, I've returned to Titusville looking for a home on the east side of Orlando where I grew up. And I wound up here because once you cross the St. Johns River, here you are in this beautiful area. Unbeknownst to me, I bought what is one of the 12 locally designated historic structures of Titusville due to the Titusville Historic Preservation Board. What does that mean? I said at closing when the real estate agent said, oh, by the way, you'll be getting a plaque. She said, oh, you just bought a historic structure. So to find out what that meant to me, I got myself involved with the Titusville Historic Preservation Board. Was appointed eventually because I started going to city council meetings. And I found out that I only went to council meetings when there was some activity that pertained to my neighborhood. And lo and behold, on just about every agenda, there was some item that pertained to my neighborhood. Now, not knowing exactly how to answer questions of my neighbors when they would complain about the potholes on I-95, what's the city doing about it? Well, it's not the city's project. Well, what's the county doing? So in order to protect the county, I started finding out, who's in charge of what. And then something came along like the Citizens Academy, and I went to that. And by golly, I learned a lot of things. Citizen involvement is very important. This is how you find out what your constituents are talking about, what they're thinking about, what they're needing, what they're wanting you to do for them. And where do we as citizens find out about that? There's no newspaper to read anymore. Remember the days when every morning you got up and you had a newspaper with your morning coffee? Well, how do you find out what's going on? It takes a certain amount of integrity, information digging, and consistency to find out, except there's ways that this county, Brevard County, is making it easy for the citizens. Citizens can participate fully, giving you feedback as well as pushback. But it's got to be informed and educated participation. And that's where things like the Citizens Academy come in, and also having a Citizens Engagement Month every year to remind the citizens that there are ways to get educated, to know what's going on, and to give proper feedback and pushback to those that we've elected to represent us. So I want to commend the county for the efforts to engage citizens through your SEER program. You know, that's the Citizens Effective and Efficiency Recommendations, the SEER program, and your Citizens Academy. And I hope that you look for other ways through town hall meetings in your districts so that your citizens can come and speak with you directly and not just at formal meetings. So thank you very much for this resolution. The citizens of Brevard, especially those of us in District 1 that I'm representing today, really appreciate your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony, for your service. I don't think we have them. Do we have them?
Yep, we have a photo op here. You want to join the commissioner up at the front? Okay, we have E2, resolution for a day of prayer in Brevard County, May 7th, 2026, and District 1 as well.
Thank you. I'm bringing this forward to recognize May 7th as the Day of Prayer in Brevard County in conjunction with the National Day of Prayer. Miss Loretta Dozier is here as the citizen requester, and I would like to offer her the opportunity to give a few words after I read the resolution, and she's welcome to come up with her cohorts. Whereas May 7th is designated.
Yeah, go ahead and approach the rostrum.
Whereas May 7th is designated for Americans to come together as a nation under God to observe the 75th consecutive National Day of Prayer. And whereas the Supreme Court has affirmed the right of state legislators to open their sessions with prayer, and the Supreme Court of the United States Congress themselves begin each day with prayer. And whereas the first National Day of Prayer was proclaimed by the First Continental Congress in 1775. President Lincoln reaffirmed it in 1863. Congress established the National Day of Prayer as an annual event by a joint resolution, signed into law by President Truman in 1952. And whereas in 1988, the law was amended and signed by President Ronald Reagan, designating the National Day of Prayer as the first Thursday in May. And whereas the theme for this year's observance, as stated by the National Day of Prayer Task Force, is glorify God among the nations, seeking him in all generations. And the scripture for this year is, tell of his glory among the nations and his wonderful deeds among all the peoples. 1 Chronicles 16:24. And whereas the National Day of Prayer is an opportunity for Americans to join in united prayer, to acknowledge our dependence on God, to give thanks for blessings received, to receive healing for wounds endured, and to ask God to guide our leaders and bring wholeness to the United States and her citizens. Whereas it is fitting and proper to give thanks to God by observing a day of prayer in Brevard County, when all may acknowledge our blessings and express gratitude for them, while recognizing the need for strengthening religious and moral values in our state and nation. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County does hereby proclaim Thursday, May 7th, to be designated as a day of prayer in Brevard County, and encourage citizens to observe the day in ways appropriate to its importance and significance. Done, ordered, and adopted in regular session this 21st day of April, 2026. So moved.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor say yay.
Yay.
Opposed? Nay. Carries unanimously. Thank you. Okay, Commissioner.
Awesome, thank you.
We would like to say thank you to the commissioners. Thank you all for your service. We thank God first for allowing us to be here and stand before you. Thank you for every year that we come to the commissioners and ask you to present the resolution. You have done that for the last 10 years. I'm Loretta Dozier. I'm the Brevard County Coordinator for the National Day of Prayer Task Force. And we have some of the volunteers here as well that are city or town coordinators. And I would like them to introduce themselves because we want you to know who your constituents are. So they'll say their name and their city, where they're from. But the goal and the mission of the National Day of Prayer Task Force is to mobilize and multiply unified public prayer for America. And on that day, May 7th, thousands of people around the country will be praying for 7 different areas. If you have your brochure, those 7 different areas are there. We're praying for the church, family, education, business, military, government, and arts, media, and entertainment. And of course, they're praying for their cities and their city leaders. So we're so grateful that our country, we're in a free country, we can pray and we give God glory. Amen. For that, because the theme is glorify God. And so we just thank you all for presenting the resolution. I will, you have a document in front of you. Pastor Evie will share that. Just open it up for the audience and they will know what's in there. Pastor Evie, would you just come for a few minutes?
Okay, if you look at your document, there are 70 sites and growing. This is a working document. People are still calling in and saying we will be a site for prayer. And you can see the cities throughout Brevard County that have people who step forward to pray at government facilities, at parks, at schools, at the flagpoles, on media outlets. Some of these are virtual meetings where there's telephone kind of prayer lines and conference lines. There are different languages of Creole, English, Spanish, Chinese, and bilingual. And we're just very pleased. Like one is at Carter's Garage, some men at 6 o'clock in the morning. So there's businesses. And we just are very excited about how there are so many participants of different across the spectrum throughout Brevard County. And I didn't mention churches, lots of churches involved. And so we're just very pleased at how people have come out and they feel that this is very important. And when this day is over, we want you all to know that we still pray for you every day. You're very important to us. And so when you don't see us, we are still praying for you when this day passes by. We thank God for how he's blessed our county, blessed the state of Florida. You can see God's blessings. If you go to the National Day of Prayer website, it'll look like red dots over everywhere that a prayer site's gone up. And when you see the state of Florida, by the time the National Day of Prayer, Florida will be covered in red except for the Everglades. So you will see Florida covered in red, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. May the Lord bless you richly.
And I would like to just give us a few minutes, sir. Thank you so much. Just introduce yourself. Pastor Buwana, go ahead.
Buwana Bostic, I'm the senior pastor of Cedar Refuge Christian Center in Cocoa.
Okay.
John Keane from Melbourne, Acts 2 Ministries.
Linda Taylor, Melbourne, New Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church.
Edie Serrano, Palm Bay resident, member of Love Community Gospel Truth in Melbourne, and also part of the Bible Club.
I'm Evie Ostrander from the Mission Church in Palm Bay.
Margaret Irwin from the Mission Church, prayer minister.
Diane Lehner, Palm Bay Mission Church.
Wendy Sincada, Palm Bay Mission Church. Brenda Garcia, Grand Rosario.
Louis Garcia, Grand Rosario. My name is Ed. I'm from the Mission Church in Palm Bay, and on the National Day of Prayer, I'll be at an observance of the National Day of Prayer at the Kennedy Space Center.
Praise God. And so thank you all for your time, and we want to leave you with a prayer. Kathy Branzel is the president of the National Day of Prayer Task Force, and at every observance, those 70-plus observances, a prayer will be read. A prayer for America will be read. Every meeting will read this prayer in unison. So we're going to leave you with this prayer. We're going to read it together, and it says, Almighty God, King of glory, we confess our sins and repent of our pride that sought our own glory and comfort, allowing evil to take root instead of your fruit in our hearts, homes, culture, and country. Please forgive us. Now, with this declaration of rededication, we humble ourselves, pray, and seek your face, turning from our wicked ways, that you would heal our lives and our land. Please purify and renew our hearts with holy attributes, affections, attitudes, and actions, to love you with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength. We give you glory as we repent and rededicate our lives and our nation to you. For 250 years, you have guarded and guided America in wisdom, grace, mercy, and love. We praise and thank you for our founding fathers, for all who sought you in fervent prayer throughout history and answered your call to defend justice, freedom, to protect and serve, preach and teach, innovate, communicate, learn, work, worship, and establish our laws. May your kingdom come and your will be done in our lives, our families, the church, education, business, military, government, arts, entertainment, and media, as it is written in heaven. We prayerfully commit to glorify God among the nations, seeking him in all generations. In Jesus' name, amen. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
This is a wonderful spreadsheet of all the locations, very impressive. No date mentioned, because I assume they have the times.
It's May 7th.
All May 7th.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
good.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
And you are welcome to attend either one of them or get on the phone or whether the virtual meetings as well.
Fantastic.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we have a placard and a photo up.
Oh, yes. You all are invited. You saw the one for Vieira, 12 o'clock?
Right here.
Commissioner Altman, we would love for you to be there.
12 o'clock right here.
Well, I may be there, but I may be at the one at the Kennedy Space Center, too.
Okay,
So
that's even better.
I'm going through the
That's
list
even
here.
better.
Yeah.
Commissioner
great.
Feltner, you've been so faithful in helping us over the years. Thank you. You're welcome. Ms. Atkinson, you as well.
Great,
And it's
thank you.
always lovely to
Let's
see
take a
you.
picture, y'all.
You got to get up there with the.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Come back, Evan. We're going to say Jesus on 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Jesus.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Last one.
Okay, our next resolution is recognize the Brevard County Citizens Academy, which was mentioned in our earlier resolution, I think.
Yes.
Commissioner Delaney?
Thank you. I sponsored this item because this is one of our programs that has been around for a long time, provides real value to our community, but still isn't widely known by all of our residents. It's a valuable resource that I hope many more of our residents take advantage of for upcoming cycles. The Brevard County Citizens Academy has been offered since 2001 as a way for residents to learn how their county government works, what services are provided, how departments operate, and how decisions move through the process. It's a 7-week program held each February and March in partnership with our UF-IFAS Extension Office. The most recent class concluded March 26th, and for anyone interested, this year's presentations are available online as backup for this agenda item. Before I read the resolution, I wanted to briefly outline our speakers. After reading, I'll invite UF-IFAS Extension Director Beth Shepard to say a few words, followed by inviting one of the county staff who participated in the program, and then I'd like to see if one of this year's Citizens Academy graduates would say a few words. I also want to take a moment to recognize the many staff members who contributed to this program. I'm going to embarrass you all. Would you mind please standing up just for a moment if you've ever given a presentation at Citizens Academy? Their willingness to share their time and expertise is what makes the Academy such a valuable experience. And with that, I'll go ahead and read the resolution. All right. Yes. Okay. Whereas the Brevard County Citizens Academy, established in 2001, was created to foster open communication between residents and county government and to provide participants with a clear understanding of county operations, services, and opportunities for public participation. And where over the past 25 years, the program has engaged as many as 800 residents and has been recognized in multiple local publications for its value to the community. And whereas participant evaluations consistently demonstrate increased knowledge of county functions and resources, along with strengthened confidence to communicate effectively and engage in local issues. And whereas a significant majority of participants report an intent to apply what they have learned, attend public meetings, and take an active role in their community. And whereas, since 2016, the UF-IFAS Extension Office has partnered with Brevard County to deliver the Citizens Academy, enhancing the program through integration of research-based education with practical, real-world local government insight. And whereas, the Brevard County Citizens Academy contributes to a more informed and engaged community by supporting civic participation, collaborative problem solving, and empowering residents with their local community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, does hereby recognize the Brevard County Citizens Academy as a valuable program and commends its continued role in strengthening informed civic engagement with the community. Done, ordered, and adopted in regular session this 21st day of April, 2026. So moved.
I'll second.
Motion second. Those in favor signify by saying yay.
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 Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much. Let me get my glasses on. On behalf of UF-IFAS Extension Office, we thank you. We are truly honored to accept this recognition. Hearing the resolution, what stands out to us most is not just that Citizen Academy has been around since 2001, but how meaningful that work continues to be today. People gain an understanding of how county government works, how to access services, and how decisions are made. But just as importantly, they build skills to engage communication, active listening, and collaboration, becoming tools they can actually use. It is truly an honor to be part of a program that continues to strengthen Brevard County, not just through information, but through people. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Who's coming next?
I'm going to pick on somebody, and I'm so sorry because I didn't ask you before this, but John Scott, if you wouldn't mind saying a couple words about, I've heard some really great things about your presentation that you just gave, and if you could just share, you know, what you do and give us an insight to what that looks like.
Good morning, Commissioners. And thank you. So I would just, I mean, we very much in emergency management, you know, talking to the public is a big part of what we do. And anytime we have an opportunity to talk to residents who are sort of taking that big step to become engaged, it matters to us. I know it matters to all the other directors, because that's someone who's going to take our message back and spread it amongst their family, friends, and neighbors. And that's a big part of how we continue to move forward in this county. So we very much look forward to and relish the opportunity to speak with folks.
Thank you.
So thank you.
And Miss Tony, she is a 2-time graduate of our Citizens Academy in Brevard County.
I had a speech prepared, but I'm not going to waste your time because everybody said what the Academy does, how it unites the citizens of the county with the department heads and often staff members they bring along. And so I just wanted to say, having been a two-time graduate, you get certificates, you get some really neat handouts from the departments that you can take home and put on your refrigerator that have contact information. Brevard is a charter county. Mr. Richardson brought this to our attention at the end, provided copies of the charter. You get fun things like from mosquito control. You not only learn about the mosquitoes, you get a coloring book and the crayons. It's a really tremendous program. I recommend not only that all the citizens of Brevard take the Academy, but it's been very useful. About half of the participants in each session I've been in were county staff members who come and learn not only what they're supposed to be doing, how they're reported to be doing, but how their unit fits in with the other departments. And I think connecting the dots is a very, very important aspect of the Citizens Academy. So I want to congratulate Brevard County and this commission and Brevard citizens for the Citizens Academy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I don't think we have a thing. Do we? Okay.
So if there are other graduates, are you ready?
Oh, yes. Sorry, yes. If there's other graduates, please feel free to come and join in the picture.
I'll hold my certificate.
Thank you, Board.
Okay, thank you. Our next item is E4, a check presentation from, that's a key, very operative word, from the Coastal Conservation Association, CCA, for $50,000 to Brevard County for the historic Banana River Bomb Target artificial reef for enhanced fish habitat. And we have a check is going to be given to us, and hopefully an explanation of what the bomb target is, because there's a really nice description in the agenda packet, a very fascinating little piece of Brevard history.
All right, good morning. We're excited to begin this habitat restoration project where we're going to construct and install 40 artificial reef structures around a historic U.S. Air Force bomb target in the Banana River Lagoon. This was used as a target practice for training for World War II. So we aim to not only enhance and restore this critical habitat, but also bring awareness to this unique historic site. In addition, we're going to install improved signage around the submerged structure to enhance boater safety in the area. The county is grateful for this contribution from the Coastal Conservation Association, as well as support from the Indian River Lagoon National Estuary Program, the City of Cape Canaveral, and the Brevard Zoo for this project. Without partnerships like this, projects like this would not be possible.
Good morning. I'm Frank Gaitis. I'm the Director of Habitat and Environmental Restoration with CCA Florida. This $50,000 is part of our 2-year $1 million habitat pledge that we're doing around the state of Florida. And this project really caught our eye because, I don't know if you all are aware or not, but over the last few years, it's been really difficult to find qualified offshore marine contractors. And so this really caught our eye because it's kind of a unique project being inshore. We've been donating to the Brevard County Offshore Artificial Reef Program for over a decade. And we just really like working with y'all. It's been just kind of a seamless process. And like I said, this is not only an artificial reef, but it's also a fish enhancement project. This is going to attract fish. It's a structure. I've been out there. It's a structure that's already in place. It's sticking up. So it's going to be really unique to turn this into an actual, living, breathing artificial reef. So we just thank you for the partnership.
Fantastic. I think we'll do a quick photo opportunity with the check. Now, I'm going to invite the whole commission down to receive $50,000. That's wonderful. Commissioner Goodson, you'll be here in spirit. Maybe we'll Photoshop you into this picture. I think it's in your district, too. So let's have a quick photo.
Thank you.
Center.
Right here. I'm going to grab one side of the check.
I know, right?
Oh, absolutely. Snorkeling, I know.
Fantastic. We've come a long way, haven't we, from having bomb targets in the Banana River to building fish reefs. But thank you so much for that. It's wonderful what the CCA does to protect Florida's natural environment. Okay, we will now move on to the consent agenda. We do have one item that has a speaker that we will remove, and that's item F4. I'd like to ask the commission, is there any other items they would like to have some discussion on?
Yes, sir, F5.
F5, okay. Okay, F4 and F5, I think that's it, and a motion would be in order for the rest of the consent agenda.
I move to approve the rest of the consent agenda.
Second.
The motion and a second to approve the balance of the consent agenda other than F4 and F5. All in favor say yay.
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 Motion carries unanimously. Okay, we will move to F4, resolution to adopt the ad valorem tax abatement program guidelines. And the card is from Rick Heffelfinger.
Could you have staff make some comments before I get up, because I'm not sure.
Well, why don't you address us here at the podium? If you can address us. That way we get you on the record since you filled out a card.
Rick Heffelfinger, District 1. I guess I had a question pertaining to the scores. You got some good numbers or you got bad numbers. That's what I don't understand. Because it looks like we're doing a great job making sure that we're paying our employees in Brevard. We've got a list there, one of the attachments to Florida Commerce. How many counties we got? Oh, they didn't number them, sorry. But number 6, so we're paying people good. My question is, if we're paying so good, how come firefighters were paid so poorly? Because this must be a total average, right? So I would hope that that leveling, now maybe it's because they negotiate with a union, so we try to squeeze them, but it is a reason for cost growth. And we always say that, certain organizations are paid underneath what the average is for the other counties. That's a pretty good score, but that's costing the taxpayers, all of us, to pay those salaries. So I would hope that you guys as a commission would be looking at really and saying, hey, we pay our staff really well, and we want to get what we pay for. And the citizens want the same thing. I'm not going to, it's just, I always hear these in the past couple of years, I hear these comments about how, we've got to give them cost of living increases and all that stuff because of the inflation. Yet they're staying up kind of nicely, unless you think that they're all county employees from all over the state are paid low, and 8th is not a very good number. I don't know. That's just my observation, because again, talk of busting the cap. I hope we don't throw more money at them this time. We're not going to do a cost increase for their salaries, are we? Because they're already 8th.
Yeah, I have a quick question. Are you
Yeah.
speaking of F4, the tax abatement? Ad valorem tax abatement program?
Yeah, it's got attachments, and one of them is the state of Florida incentive average wage.
Okay, good. You're talking to that portion of the agenda. The
Yeah,
attachment?
that drew my attention, that
Okay,
ranking of
all
number
right.
8 there.
I just want to be
Or 6.
sure that,
Okay.
all right.
Yeah, because I could have stapled the wrong thing to the.
Okay, yeah, I understand. Good,
So-
but that's a good question. Do we have a response to that question?
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Each year, the Economic Development Commission of Florida Space Coast Ad valorem Tax Abatement Council reviews the average wage, as the speaker had said, average wage, because we have 3 elements when a person applies, or business applies for a tax abatement. We have 3 elements that go into that research before they go to the board. One is the number of employees, one is the payroll, one is the capital investments. At this year's discussion, with the average wage going to $68,000 a year, the council decided, because we have so much in aerospace and heavy manufacturing, we need other businesses to support those businesses. So it was decided by the council to keep the average wage of $61,784,000 for this particular program. So EDC is requesting that the board approve the resolution for this tax abatement program.
Okay, great. I just wanted to be specific to your question. so
No,
it's
I
understood.
appreciate
Thank
the
you.
insight there that she has. So.
Mr. Chair, this is the average wage that the Economic Development Commission uses as part of their formula to recommend tax abatement. It's not the average wage of county employees. This is the average wage throughout the entire county.
Got you. There's a big fundamental difference.
So does I guess I could ask for a follow-up. So does the EDC, what does the abatement actually do? Are we going to ask the local employers to lower their wage so it's an attractive place to work, or what? Or raise their wage? I don't know. I don't know if this score is a good thing or a bad thing.
I think it's just an accounting of what our average wage is. Is there a reason for that? Maybe you can take it.
Commissioner, the reason why the average wage is part of the calculation for the tax abatement program is because they will get points. The higher the wage, the more points they get. But the average wage of $61,784 would get 4 points for that. Anything below that would get 0 points. So the tax abatement program is based on the number of points a business brings to the county. Capital investments, it has number of points 3 through 10. Number of employees have also a number that's assigned to them. The more people that they bring, the larger the number that they have. So if somebody gets a higher number, they could get an abatement for 8 years at 80% of what they add to the tax roll, or 10 years at 100% of what they add to the tax roll for that given abatement program. So it's just a guide for the Tax Abatement Council to recommend to you, to the board, a abatement program for those tax abatement programs that come to the board.
So does that mean the county would give them a waiver on some of their business tax because they're bringing such high-paid individuals into the county?
This is,
Rick, please go through the chairman.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
She just provided that information, so I was
I
understand.
Go ahead. What was your question again?
Well, I just wonder, does that mean, because there's been some talk about these programs that we give, tax waivers to
Right.
businesses that come in, and that's, good for, if we get the tax dollars from the employees, that's what happens, right? They go to our stores, they go to our shops, they buy boats here, right? So it's good. So is this a consideration, I want to look at her, is this a consideration
That's all right.
for the county authorizing a waiver to some of the business taxes because they brought the employees? I
think it's a very interesting point that you bring up, because the reason would think that if you had a lower average employment pay, you would probably that'd be a positive for tax abatement, because you need to hire more jobs to increase wages. But whereas it's the opposite, the higher the wage in the county, the more points you get. So that would be biased against a community that needed more jobs. But maybe there are other reasons. Maybe because there's a higher average wage, you got to be more competitive in bringing in workers. Do we know the logic behind that?
Mr. Chair?
Yes. Maybe Commissioner
really
Feltner has some knowledge.
Well, I hate to summon someone from the audience, but after Mr. Heffelfinger is finished, we do have Neil Johnson. I see him out there, and Neil, I hate to do that to you, but you might be able to clear that up.
I did not see him out there. All right.
I got
Yeah, he
19
might be
seconds
able to
left. I'd just like to thank you
okay.
for, Mr. Chair, I'd like to thank you for engaging the staff so we can try to get some information to us. I appreciate that.
No problem. Very
And I will
intriguing
gladly listen to
question.
whatever the next speaker has to say. Thank you.
Very interesting question. Thank you.
Sorry about that, Neil, but I think you could clear that up.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Neil Johnson. I live at 2491 Crooked Antler Road in Melbourne, Crooked Antler Drive. I don't even know my address. I am actually the chair of the ABT Council for the Economic Development Commission. And just to add some, and that great explanation, thank you for that. The score sheet is designed, so the ABT program is designed to give us an incentive that we can use to recruit companies to come to our area that have high-paying jobs. Those high-paying jobs will then create what they call direct and indirect jobs beyond that, because as the speaker rightly said, when you bring in those high-paying jobs, they're going to shop in our stores, they're going to buy our boats, they're going to stay in the tourists stay in the hotels, but they're going to buy houses. So the return on investment, and we've done the research, is about 8 to 1. So for every dollar that we abate in the ad valorem piece of the property taxes, we get about an $8 return on investment on the spending that they do in the community. So that's the reason that the score sheet gives them credit for higher paying jobs, is because that's the design of the program. The reason that we bring the average wage to you is because of state statute. We're required to do that.
Okay.
And I can answer any other questions.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
I'd like to make a motion to approve F4.
There's a motion to approve F4 by Commissioner Adkinson.
I will second. I want to say one thing before we vote, just on that.
Second and discussion.
Okay,
Yes.
sorry, sir.
That's okay.
Just so that we're all aware, each tax abatement stands on its own. So everyone has to go before the Board of County Commissioners. So approving the guidelines today is just that.
Right.
Each one of these would come before the board individually. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, any other discussion, debate? All in favor say yay.
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 Carries unanimously. Thank you. Good discussion, good question. It's a very important issue, and thank you for staff for that, and Neil for being here. Okay, we will go to F5, which is approval appointments and reappointments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I think that the citizen advisory boards are really important, not just to the community, but particularly to me, because they're individuals who are out there that I can work with, I can learn from, and they can bring to my community, or from the community to me, and for me, that's important. So I have a concern that if we allow some of these appointments, specifically for the Health Facilities Authority, which has been vacant since December 2025, the Community Development Block Grant Citizen Advisory Board, which has been vacant since December 24, and the North Brevard Commission on Parks and Rec. We don't have anybody in that seat. I think that I think that the next incoming commissioner for District 1, it might serve them better if they were allowed to appoint those three particular, or at least be part of the decision of the board for those particular three appointments. So that's my thought, and I'd make a motion to
I have
deny.
more discussion about that.
Certainly, but I'm just going to make the motion and see if it gets seconded, and then we can make the discussion. So I would move to deny the appointment to the Health Facilities Authority, the Community Development Block Grant Citizen Advisory Board, and the North Brevard Commission on Parks and Rec. Other ones for me are fine.
Okay.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion?
Discussion.
Yes.
So I understand, where you're coming from. I've been, myself and my team have been looking into these appointments for quite some time, and it's still under my authority as the D1 commissioner, and the next D1 commissioner can literally wipe out any board seat that they wish and replace it with somebody else once they become commissioner. And so there's nothing holding them back from doing so. I don't believe that these vacancies should continue. I think that it's part of my role as commissioner to appoint somebody. And these are the people that I've chosen due to their experience and their willingness to serve. Like I said, the next commissioner can swap them out if they so choose, but I don't think that D1 should not have the representation during that time just because of my situation.
Ma'am?
Yes.
These positions have been vacant for a year and a half.
No,
And
they haven't.
Well,
One has.
I mean, North
One
Brevard
has.
Commission on Parks and Rec hasn't had a previous member in the seat. West Canaveral Grove Strategy Area since December 24th, or 2024. But in any case, I think that from a board's perspective, it's not a great idea to force the next district chair district commissioner to have to work with people that weren't picked by them. And it would only be a matter of months before this could be straightened out, possibly, if we have an appointed commissioner for D1.
We all do that. We all did that when we got elected, and I don't foresee any issues with these people. They're all professionals. They're all highly experienced, and that it's just an insult to the people that have applied to these positions to even suggest something like that. And these boards are an advisory role. They're not making any decisions, and so there should be representation in those seats.
Mr. Chair, may I make a clarification?
Absolutely.
So Commissioner Delaney was correct that the incoming commissioner in District 1 could remove and replace appointees if that commissioner wanted to. As to two of the boards, the Tyco appointment is a District 1 commissioner appointment for that particular seat, and the Marine Advisory Council appointment. Both of those are just acknowledgements. The commissioner has in effect made those, and the board's just being asked to acknowledge those. As to the remaining, the CDBG, Health Facilities Authority, North Brevard Library, North Brevard Parks and Rec, and North Merritt Island, those are all board appointments.
Right.
And the North Merritt Island is specifically, it must be recommended by the District 2 Commissioner, and the board acts upon that recommendation in an advice and consent manner.
Okay. So we're talking about 4 appointments.
3.
3?
Yeah.
And what are those again?
Health Facilities Authority, Community Development Block Grant Citizens Advisory Board, and the North Brevard Commission on Parks and Rec.
And so your motion is for those 3?
These 3 only, the other
Those
ones
3 only.
stand.
Okay. Okay, great.
From what I was told, that those boards were D1 appointments approved by the board.
That's not correct. District 1 is a District 1, or the Tyco and Marine Advisory Council District Commissioner appointments. The others are board appointments.
Okay, any further debate? Okay, seeing no further debate, all in favor of the motion signify by saying yea.
Yay.
Yea.
Yay.
Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Motion carries 1 nay. That's Commissioner Delaney. Okay. Do we need a larger motion, or did that motion cover disposing of that item?
The way I worded it was the
Everything else went through, so the North
Yeah.
Brevard Library and the North Merritt Island were
Okay.
both approved by the board.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we will move from the consent agenda.
I'm sorry, Kathy, I thought that when we had talked about this, I have an appointment on the Tyco board, a District 1 appointment, and I have an appointment on the Health Facilities Authority. Those are, from that spreadsheet you gave me, that is what it said. It said District 1. It did not say board.
I'm not sure what spreadsheet it is, but I looked at every one of these appointments, and the appointment for the Community Development Block Grant, the appointment for the Health Facilities Authority, and the appointment for the North Brevard Commission on Parks and Recreation. The way the legislation is written, those are board appointments.
That's not what the information that was given. So what about the Tyco?
Tyco is that is a district appointment.
As I said, the Tyco and
Yes.
the Marine Advisory Council, those are just acknowledgements from the board. You
Okay.
made those appointments. Those are District 1 Commissioner
And
appointments.
so those are done?
Those two.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. We will move to item G, public comments, and we have 3 cards. Jeanette Egerton is our first card.
Some information to the board, and thank you, Mr. Feltner, for taking our calls.
Go ahead. We
I'm
can hear
Jeanette.
you when you're up at the.
Oh, okay. I'm Jeanette Edgerton, and Pat is going to pass out some information. I live at 1725 Morning Glory Drive, Melbourne, Florida.
You might want to get you a little bit closer to that mic. You might want to pull it down a little bit. The speaker prior to you was
How about that?
taller. Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to read, if you don't mind. We, the undersigned, we started a petition for the trees that are going to be cut down, or they were planning to be cut down. There was some discussion about that in our community. So we started a petition, and we got over 120 homes out of 192 in our community. So we were pleasantly surprised that we have more than half. So we, the undersigned residents, supporters of the Hammock Trace community, respectfully urge you to halt the planned removal of approximately 60 mature oak trees within our neighborhood, and to consider alternative solutions that preserve the natural environment we value so deeply. The trees in our community are not merely part of our landscape. They are essential to our health, beauty, and character of our neighborhood. Many of us choose to live here because of the rich tree canopy and sense of peace and connection to nature that it provides. The mature oak tree is capable of supporting over 2,300 species. These trees provide vital food, shelter, and habitat for wildlife, contributing to a thriving and balanced ecosystem. In addition to their ecological importance, these trees offer significant everyday benefits to residents. They provide shade from the intense Florida sun that we're all familiar with, making our streets more walkable and enjoyable for families, children, and pets. To help regulate temperatures, reduce energy costs, and enhance overall quality of life. The removal of these trees would have lasting negative impacts, including those already mentioned: loss of wildlife habitat, increased heat and reduced shade, increased energy costs for residents, decreased property values, and neighborhood appeal. One of the reasons that I bought in there was because of the beautiful oak trees. If I haven't said that, I want to make sure that I said that. They're talking about 60 trees being taken out of the easement area, and I'm not sure why. So that's one of my questions at the end here. This outcome was not what the residents want for our community, nor what was envisioned at the time Hammock Trace was developed. We urge Brevard County to look into nearby communities such as Titusville when thoughtful tree protection policies have been successfully, thoughtful tree protection policies have successfully been implemented. Through citizen advocacy and city leadership. Titusville established regulations, which I know they have them in place. I don't have the numbers of them at this point in time, requiring preservation, existing tree canopy, protection of heritage trees, of which we have many because we've been there for, over 30 years. And the developer contributions towards tree mitigation. These measures demonstrate that responsible development and environment preservation can go hand in hand. We believe community involvement is essential, not just individual homes, in decisions that shape our community. We respectfully ask that you pause all plans to remove these trees, engage, is my time up?
Yeah, well, go ahead and finish that
Okay.
call.
Engage in residents to explore alternative solutions and consider implementing stronger tree protection measures. My question was simply, how will we know what your decision is, and how will we be kept apprised of that in the future?
And I have a question, if I may.
Sir, I think you have 3 cards on the trees, and I'm happy to speak on it. Mark's happy to speak on it, too.
Okay.
If you prefer to do that, or I'll say a couple things real quick, and you have a question, so.
Okay. Why don't we hear all 3, and then you would prefer that?
Okay.
But I do have a question for you.
Okay.
Now, I assume the top picture is a depict.
That's Pat's.
Oh, we'll wait
Yeah.
for Pat
Yeah.
comes out.
Okay.
Okay. I think I know the answer, but I thought I'd ask anyway. Thank you so much. Come on up. Patrick French.
Thanks, guys, for letting us come here and talk. I'm Patrick French. I'll just give you a quick history on me real quick. I've been here since 1960, South Patrick Shores. I joined the Marine Corps in 1980, retired in 2000. Went to a place called Vieira. I was in the Corps too long, so when I came back, I go, what is that, a new pond or something? Vieira. Drove around with the wife. We found that area over here in Hammock Trace. I've been there for 26 years. And like she said, the trees are just beautiful. That picture right there was sent to me by one of the neighbors. I've got more pictures, but you guys don't have time to be looking at pictures all day long. But to me, it's devastating. I just don't like that picture. It's devastating. And
Now,
if I
this
want-
is a depiction, like a Photoshop picture where the trees removed.
Right, this is someone from the neighbor that sent it to me to give me an idea. And
Why it would be like
I've got
great
pictures.
graphic.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. I've got pictures here of one of our streets that looks like that, but I just don't want to keep passing pictures out for you guys. I'm just giving you an idea what's going on.
Well, they're worth 1,000 words.
They
so
really
be
are.
quicker.
I can't sleep at night when I see that.
Yeah.
Because this place, it's beautiful there. It really is. I've been there 26 years. My tree is probably one of the bigger ones, and it's only been shaved, because you can lift the side. You guys know this. You can lift the sidewalk, cut the roots, a little square, and then you cement, form it back up, and boom, it's done. But mine's only been shaved once, just shaved to make it level with the other part of the sidewalk, once in 26 years. So what I'm saying there is the trees here and there, they're going to lift. It's part, they get big. They're beautiful oaks. But it doesn't happen all the time. It's in intervals of every 5 years. If they were to come out there and do the sidewalks and lift where they need to be lifted in front of the trees, cut the roots. I've seen it 1,000 times out here. Matter of fact, they were just over at Spyglass about 3 months ago doing it, not hurting the trees. And they were also, last week, they were over at Crane Creek, not hurting the trees. And it just kills me to see that picture. I've looked at it too many times. Actually, I don't even carry it with me anymore. I just brought it for you guys. But there is places in our little community in Hammock Trace that needs to be either shaved or the sidewalk lifted. And then voila, the tree's still there. And these trees are awesome. They're just, the kids play there, the little people walk by with the dogs, the babies. I just couldn't imagine, if I wanted to live in a desert, I probably should have stayed in the Marine Corps by that picture. That's decimated. It's just really, it's ugly. And that's not, our neighborhood will never be the same. I mean, I've got a couple years left, I guess, but I'm just saying if they were to come and do, say, mine's lifting tiny bit now after 26 years, actually 30 because it's 95 they put it in, I think. But I wouldn't be here if they did the sidewalks, say 3 panels of the cement. I don't think it would lift probably 15, 20 years later.
Neighborhood in Hammock Trace, and it is a lovely neighborhood. It basically, if you were to take Spyglass all the way to where it intersects Morrell and go across, hang a right, you're going to be in Hammock Trace. I have friends in there. I went in there last week, and I spoke with Pat, I think on Good Friday we talked. And I met with a couple of your neighbors and went out there and walked around on the sidewalks. And the short of it is, and they do have majestic, beautiful oak trees that are 30 years old, because I think that neighborhood is about 30 years old. And the trees are between the sidewalk and the street. So you have that thin strip of grass, and that's where they put the trees. Conversely, in my neighborhood, they put 2 live oaks in all of our front yards. Now, I had to remove mine because buckled the driveway, caused other problems after the 04 hurricanes, all these sorts of things. We all deal with oak trees if you have them, but they are beautiful trees. There's no debating that fact. So the situation out there is the county does take care of the sidewalks. They're not behind a gate. And so we have sidewalks now that are raised up. So you have ADA concerns with that. Now, they can grind some tops of sidewalks, but there are definitely some areas that are going to have to be addressed. I went out there and walked with one neighbor, and there's 5 inches. That's not shaving the top of the sidewalk. Talked with Mark about this just so we all understand. Nothing's moving forward today. We're all on pause until we can figure it out. And I think we spoke. The county doesn't want to go out there and cut all the trees down. I would just suggest to everybody it's a lot cheaper if we don't have to do that. So we're going to find the good way to do it. There's definitely going to have to be some root trimming to deal with the sidewalks. And now, I've heard this term where you can lift the sidewalk up, trim the root, put the sidewalk back down. I don't think the county quite thinks that it happens like that. I think you have to re-pour. Right, okay. So, and there are places in Century, I mean, since I've been a commissioner, where we've had to re-pour individual segments. I mean, when I first got here, Interlochen was finishing up that ditch work, and several pieces of the sidewalk individual were broken because heavy equipment was driving across and doing the ditch work. And so that went on for a while. I will say that the contractor that county had at that time did a very good job of getting out there pretty quick and doing it. So we want to be very respectful, make sure we do it right. But I think my office is trying to plan a meeting with your residents here, and we're going to do that. Okay, you're our contacts for that. Okay, and we're going to do that before they move forward with any plan. Okay, so that's where we are today. All right.
So I have questions and comments, and thank you for being here. I was a longtime resident, Vieira, and in this case, we experienced it as well. We have a beautiful oak tree in the middle of our yard. Between the house and the sidewalk. I didn't realize we had between the sidewalk and the road. That even complicates factors. And same thing, sidewall is lifted. It's amazing what oaks in Florida, this part of Florida, will do to raise sidewalks, probably because we have a high water table. And so I've lived this issue, still live it. I'm a property owner in Vieira, so I'm very much part of your community, Commissioner, so appreciate what you do there. And a couple of questions about this. This is a huge issue. And of course, we all know Rockledge Drive, the tree battles there, that was legendary. That still is a legendary battle. This is an issue that will not go away and ultimately will affect all districts. One of the things that comes to my mind, and I've thought this, that maybe we need to look at our subdivision codes or site plan approval codes, that whenever a sidewalk's put in, that it's put in properly, and included in that would maybe the need to put in what we call tree tree wells, a thickened footer on the edge of the sidewalk between where any tree would be planted to help create a wall to prevent those roots from going right under the sidewalk and lift it up. That's just a thought, and maybe when we look at our codes, that we might want to evaluate that from this point going forward. And then my second question is, would I assume the county would bear the cost of doing all those repairs? And what would be the revenue source? Would that be maybe an MSTU tax that would benefit the local residents? That maybe we should apply a certain percentage of our MSTU to fixing these problems. Also, and thirdly, I would love to see a poll from the neighborhood. A great picture, great. How many want to keep the trees? How many will take them out? It'd be interesting. Just
I'm going to concede that election. I will concede that point.
Yeah.
And I know the results of it. Okay.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I think probably most folks could agree, hey, we've got a few definitely problematic areas that we got to address. And so I want to be sympathetic to the rest, that they're not all sort of just broadly done. So let's address the key things. I've heard the border type situation that you're describing with keeping the roots from doing this again. But now I will say a couple, so it's 30 years old. So I'm probably we're seeing the manifestation of 30 years of root growth. And if we could address these things, they're probably going to, Pat, I hope we're all still around when, if roots do this again, but probably take care of the lion's share of it. I think to your point, we were talking about code and such. I don't think the county allows for these trees to be that close now. I mean, in the modern neighborhoods, that's a problem, and so I think our staff makes sure there's enough setback for all that. And it's not just the sidewalk too, by the way. I mean, they got utilities there. I was out there looking at the water meters and all of those things. The one good part I noticed, it just happenstance really, I guess, and that I noticed, but, thinking about Rockledge Drive, to your point, it doesn't seem they have a height problem, right? So it's not, a truck's going through there and hitting the limbs. That was a different thing, in Rockledge. It's not always just what's happening underneath or always what's on top. It's kind of a combination of both. So I think their problem is exclusively roots. But I think we can get there and find a solution that the neighborhood's going to, and not have a liability problem for the county. I mean, ultimately, that's where we have to be. If they were behind a gate, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we look forward to hearing your report. I know the constituents are in good hands. I'm looking forward to they coming back. This definitely has a countywide impact. And so really interesting. This is a big issue. It's big. I worked at this base at the Cape, and at our park there at the Astronaut Memorial, we had massive destruction of all of our walkways and had to rip them out and put a gravel replacement. That seems to be working, but these oak trees are powerful. It's amazing what they can do. Yeah, in Tallahassee, yes. So I'm interested, fascinating to hear what you come up with. Okay, good. And thank you for being here. That's why we have a public part of the agenda. It's very informative. Okay, now, True. Chelsea, is it Chelsea? Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, my handwriting's awful.
No, it's not. It's just my reading's not the best in the world.
I had to type for myself. My name is Chelsea True, and I am a Merritt Island resident. I wanted to speak today about public trust in the process, especially as it relates to active rezoning matters currently before this board. Over the past several months, residents have been following a rezoning case, 25Z00054, and that case has now gone through multiple continuances with explanations that the project is still evolving due to land acquisition and outreach. At the same time, public records show that the applicant's registered lobbyist has had multiple contacts with county leadership while this matter remains unresolved. Additionally, we became aware that this same individual is under contract with the county for state lobbying services, and that contract appears to include provisions related to conflicts and restrictions on lobbying on behalf of private developers during the term of the agreement. I'm not making any accusations, but from a resident's perspective, when these overlapping rules exist, it raises questions about how those provisions are being interpreted and whether appropriate disclosures have been made. Additionally, there are still open questions about how this project would function from an access and infrastructure standpoint. For example, based on publicly available information, I have not been able to locate any FDOT permit or application related to the proposed access points associated with this development, and I've also spoken to the project manager for this specific project. If key elements like access and traffic mitigations depend on approvals that are not yet in place, it adds to the concern that the project may still be evolving in ways that are not fully visible to the public. When a project continues to change between hearings and residents are trying to understand what it is actually being proposed, it creates a perception that the full picture is not always clear in real time. Perception matters, because when residents are showing up, asking questions, and still struggling to get a consistent understanding of the project, it can erode confidence in the process itself. I am simply asking for clarity and transparency. As this application moves forward, I respectfully ask that any material changes, as well as any relevant disclosures and outstanding approvals, be clearly presented so that both the board and the public can evaluate the matter in full confidence. And I also beg you to give weight to Mira's unanimous no, and the no majority vote for planning and zoning twice, and the continuous community outreach to ensure that we get heard. Thank you.
Do we have any questions? I have one,
Yeah.
just a request.
Yeah.
That your concern be put in writing, so we can
Yes.
have our county attorney address
Yes,
it?
it will be.
Okay,
I'll do
great.
that as soon as I leave here.
Okay, good.
So,
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes our first section of our public comments. Now we will move on to H, public hearings. H1.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Chair. H1 is permission to participate and accept the U.S. Department of Justice Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant. This is an item you see every year. This is the second time it's been in front of you. The last meeting was to request this public hearing. This is for the Sheriff's Office to apply for the grant. The award would be accept the grant. It would be $48,444. The award will enhance criminal investigations by funding a deputy agent position that focuses on forensic fraud, referring to crimes in which somebody wrongfully obtains and uses another person's personal data.
Make a motion to approve.
I second.
There's motion and second. All in favor say yay.
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 Carries unanimously. Thank you. H2.
Good morning, Board. H2 is a petition to vacate a portion of a public utility easement. It is south of Highway 520, west of South Courtney on Merritt Island. Mr. Mathis is the owner, District 2, and they're requesting a portion of a public utility easement to be vacated to allow an existing storage facility to remain. That was discovered during a unrelated code enforcement case. There's no objections.
Okay, is there a motion?
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion for approval.
Second.
Second, a motion and second. All in favor say yay.
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 Carries unanimously. Thank you. H3.
No H3.
There is no H3. I'd had to turn the page. Okay, I, unfinished business. I1, request approval to advertise request for proposal for a boating infrastructure study. We do have one card. Rick Heffelfinger.
Rick Heffelfinger, D1 again. Sorry for all my cards. My question was, I believe this was brought up earlier by Commissioner Atkinson about, looking at reevaluating what we're charging for boat registration fees. I don't see any numbers. I see one number. I see an $80,000 to $100,000 for a study. I see a reference to a county's, dude, getting old stinks. County Boating Improvement Fund. And I was wondering if you could discuss or provide some information at your discretion. How much is in the County Boating Improvement Fund right now? And what is going to be the return on investment for spending $80,000 to $100,000 to study the problem? If there is a problem. Maybe that's just a reevaluation you do routinely, I don't know. But I just wonder why we're going to spend, and I don't know what fund that comes out of, general fund maybe, for the 80 to 100. Don't know that. It doesn't say that, I don't think. So I just wanted to know return on investment for a study and how much money we got and what do we think we need from the study to, maybe we're looking to grow that fund for some reason. That was all I had, and if you can answer those questions, appreciate it.
Okay.
Do I
Did you want
stay?
to answer? Okay. Commissioner Atkinson?
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
So this item is coming back to us because of our board direction March 17th. So first of all, thanks staff for getting it done so quickly. I mean, I expected it to be done in May, but it's early, which is fantastic. The direction from the board was to prepare an RFP that will study the current state of and need for expansion county infrastructure that falls within the approved uses of the Brevard Boating Improvement Program. So the money that this may cost, somewhere between 80 and 100,000, is in a fund that is specific to these things. It is not general fund. It has the potential to generate over $460,000 per year extra. And it can only go to specific things. So it can only go to providing, maintaining, or operating recreational channel marking and other waterway markers, public boat ramps, lifts, and hoists, marine railways, boat piers, docks, mooring buoys, and other public launching facilities, and removing derelict vessels and debris that specifically impede boat access, not including the dredging of canals. Also for removing vessels and floating structures deemed hazardous. So this is us getting approval to go out and get the study done. Is there anything else that staff would like to say about that?
Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning. I would like to add that this will actually help the department with planning for the next 5-10 years as we look at expending and obligating funds to different projects. Something that we'll be looking at for within the RFP is actually a prioritization regarding some of those needs that we have moving forward.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Any other questions or discussion?
May I make a motion?
Yes.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the advertisement of the request for proposal for boating infrastructure study, authorize the county manager to execute a contract with the consultant recommended by the Selection and Negotiation Committee, and authorize the county manager to approve the necessary budget change requests.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor say yay.
Yay.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Oh, wait, there's a nay. Sorry. There's a nay by Commissioner Feltner. Passes 4-1.
Thank you.
Okay. I think that takes us to J1.
J1?
Yes. J1, Public Safety Group.
Good morning. Item J1, write-off of uncollectible ambulance debt associated with emergency medical services accounts for fiscal years 2024 and 2025. In accordance with BCC 37, Brevard County Fire Rescue refers appropriate delinquent accounts to contracted collection agencies for further recovery actions. For all these accounts, this action does not preclude continued collection efforts in future years. For the average of the 2-year write-off rate, it's an average of 39.6%, with our 7-year average being a 41%. Fire Rescue requests board approval in accordance with Resolution Number 79-21 for the fiscal years 2024 and 2025 write-offs of uncollectible EMS accounts receivable and the closure of accounts associated with Change Healthcare and EMS-Management and Consultants.
Okay, we have one card, I think. Rick Heffelfinger. Again.
Rick Heffelfinger, District 1. Here's my concern. We're writing off, which means the county is not getting, or EMS is not getting money for services that you provided. I'm not going to look at him. I assume, I'll make the assumption, and we know what happens when you make assumptions. I'm assuming that that's a true statement. So those guys are working hard, getting paid. They're picking people up. I think it's just EMS. Picking people up, and those people are welching on their bill. I think that's, you can clarify if that's true. So that means, I think, that instead of the people receiving the service paying for the service, the taxpayers are, because we're not shorting their paychecks, they're still doing their job. That amount of write-off really bothers me. I don't know if you're writing off, when like Medicare or something makes a minimum payment, because insurance is a mystery to me still. But when they say, hey, you guys bill them $400 for an ambulance ride, I don't know what it is. So, and then Medicare pays $200. You eat $200, really, because you said your costs were $5, and what do you eat? $300. My math is a little foggy this morning. So is that what we're writing off, is something we never anticipated getting because insurance didn't cover it? Or are we actually issuing a bill saying it's your responsibility, you rode the ambulance, and they just go, I don't know. I
Okay.
mean, and collections, is collections against an individual person? I mean, they're
I
getting
think those are
notified.
all good questions. Why don't we get a
reports?
response from our chief?
Yeah, that was kind of my question, because
Okay.
that's a lot of money that's not coming into this county, and I hate to think that taxpayers are making up the difference.
So,
Okay.
good point by Mr. Heffelfinger. The Medicare, Medicaid, TRICARE contracted rates, that's all separate from this. So I'll come up with a better word than you. That people that either can or won't pay their bill is what this number that we see here today.
That was
And I think there was a third question, and I don't remember what it was.
You remember, Rick?
Well, I guess I was,
and
you're being compensated for the difference, though. I mean, we're
Yes,
making it up to you.
Part of my statement too was they will continue with the collection agency, and that number doesn't preclude continued collections. Say somebody's making a $5 a month payment, that will continue to trickle in.
But
So-
nobody that, get them.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
People that didn't respond, and I assume they get a lien on their credit, right? Or did they get a lien from the county for, no, I'm not sure. But so they're financially impacted, but you're going to say they didn't respond, there's no chance they're going to pay, and you're writing it off. Is that what the write-off part is?
It's a write-off to clear the books today, but they will continue collection efforts moving forward on these accounts.
Okay, so you'll continue to ping them, but you're just
Yes.
going to say, we assume we may not get anything?
Exactly.
And if you do, you report that as additional income the next year, that you
Yes,
said,
sir.
hey, we got some of that back? Okay, but again, I'm really concerned about the size of what the county is expending resources for, and saying that, I don't know, do we need to be meaner to people who don't respond to their bills? You can't deny them service. I understand that it's a, the doctor must provide services. You can't tell them no, get your own ride, call a Uber. I don't know how you deal with that. But it does affect my taxes, I think, if we're making up the difference, that's all.
It is a tough issue. I have a question. So this is a little bit of a bookkeeping thing then. We're writing off kind of what we would call bad debit expense in the
Yes,
private
sir.
sector.
Bookkeeping.
Okay.
But we still will make efforts to collect.
Yes.
Another question I just want to clarify because it did come up. Will there be a lien placed on their property for lack of pay?
I don't think so. No, sir.
I don't think we're doing that in this particular case.
No,
Yeah. Do any jurisdictions do that? Do we know?
not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, okay. Okay,
I have a question.
yes.
And so when you say that we're continuing efforts to retrieve the money, that even includes litigation. Is that correct?
It can, yes, ma'am, up to litigation. Our collections agency has a process defined that they will go through based on the time and the amount. And then it's their call as they use those processes of how far they want to go.
And when it comes to the hacking that went on with that third-party agency, we're still going through that process of trying to retrieve those funds and all of that.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's another issue we didn't even talk about, I know, in the briefing. This is the outgrowth of a cyber attack. I don't know if you're aware of that.
I did see the notice, and I just stuck to that page about, I didn't know if the cyber attack, but somebody
Well, why don't you give a
ripped
quick
off money from the
description? That
county?
thing helps.
Yes, sir, Chair. Good morning, Board. It's a separate issue, but connected. The Change Healthcare experienced a cyber attack in 2024. We're going through the process right now to identify the impact of those revenues that potentially could be lost. Part of that is working with the county attorney's office right now for a demand to get that data being brought back to the county. Once we get that data, we'll be able to analyze it and go through our processes, potential audits, to determine that magnitude and the proper steps forward, going forward.
Yes.
I hope you guys make the company that let that cyber attack happen pay your lawyer fees. Morris needs to get money for them for his effort, not from us. So go get him, Morris.
It's a serious problem.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for answering it again, Commissioner, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Yes.
Question as he's wrapping up there. How are indigents handled, right? So you have nothing to bill, or do you bill Medicaid? How are we paid for?
The Medicaid, Medicare is the contracted rate. I want to say Tom would know it better. I think it's around $250 or $300 is their standard rate that they will pay, and that's the contracted federal rate.
Okay, so that's 30% potentially of what somebody else is going to pay that's what the federal government will pay us for indigent folks. What about folks who are out of town? So, I mean, they don't have anything to lien. And I know that question came up about leaning your property. I'm not sure that you can do that for ambulance ride, but certainly collections probably report to credit agencies, right?
I don't believe that this
one does?
Yes.
Because of the nature of?
Yes, sir.
Of medical? Okay. But that has to be a problem when you have out-of-town folks. They're just not even a resident of Florida. Does that change our ability to collect from them versus
No, sir.
folks who are here?
Our collection agency can go nationwide to try to find those folks. Some of the issues might be if we don't have good information, contact information when we provide the service. You know, if they don't provide a detailed address or phone number or that kind of stuff, and then our collections agency tries to run those folks down. But yes, sir, every ambulance ride bill that we produce that's not paid for goes to the collection agency, and they make a due diligence to try to collect.
And I think maybe it was mentioned, refresh my recollection here, when someone's in a coastal ambulance, and if they didn't pay, then that's largely coastal's problem?
100% coastal's problem.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, I think we need a motion. Do we have a?
Move to approve.
Second.
The motion and second to approve. All in favor say yay.
Yay.
Carries unanimously. Thank you. Okay, J2.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. J2 is a proposed settlement of a case known as Atlantic Housing Partners et al. v. Brevard County that was filed in the United States District Court for the Middle District of Florida in 2023, I believe. Yes, and at the end of 2023. Commissioners Feltner and Commissioners Goodson were the only ones on the board when the events giving rise to that litigation happened, but essentially the board at that time denied a request from someone who had gone through the Housing Finance Authority process for tax-exempt private activity bond financing for proposed development within the city of West Melbourne. The board heard strong objections from the city as well as area residents and took those into account and did not elect to give the preferential bond financing treatment to that developer. Developer sued under the Florida and Federal Fair Housing Acts, claiming $14 million. We prevailed at summary judgment. They have appealed the case to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals in federal court. We had a mediation last week and have agreed to settle the case with them paying $125,000 of our fees and costs and dismissing the appeal and lawsuit. And that was accepted by our outside claims adjuster, and I strongly urge the commission to accept that as well.
If there aren't questions,
No cards.
If there aren't questions or any other debate, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve. All in favor say yay.
Yay.
Opposed? Carries unanimous. Thank you so much. Item J3.
All right.
Approving agenda transparency through financial disclosure. I do have a question, perhaps a point of order on this. Now, didn't we vote on this before?
You did previously, and so because it's a motion for reconsideration, the board follows BCC 97, and under BCC 97, the board follows Robert's Rules of Order generally. Under Robert's rules, you can only make a motion for reconsideration at the same meeting at which a vote is taken. So in order to hear this item, you would need to do two things first. Number one, pursuant to BCC 97 3K, you would have to have a majority vote of the board to suspend Robert's Rules of Order. And then number two, a separate motion to reconsider your action at the prior meeting. And if both of those pass, then you can address the subject of the agenda.
I have a point of order on that. So what my request today is
Let
to.
me finish. I had a point.
Okay.
Let's dispose of that first. So under Robert's Rules of Order, if you have a motion to reconsider, it must be made by a member of the prevailing party. Isn't that correct?
That's correct, but in this instance, if the board waives Robert's rules to even consider it, then that doesn't apply either.
It would apply that. Okay. All right, so I think what we need either is a motion from the prevailing partner to reconsider or a motion to not follow Robert's Rules of Orders. And there's a reason for that. It's to prevent you from just hashing and rehashing these items. Did you have a question?
I do. I object that this is reconsideration. What I'm doing is, under the board authority, we have the authority to make changes to policy. And what the motion was at the previous meeting was to direct staff to do this. And so now this time I'm proposing the changes. And so I feel like that's two different things.
Mr. Chair, if I may address that, the requested action is once again to direct staff to revise the policy. And reading from the commissioner's agenda item, it says the item is being brought back for the board's reconsideration. So I believe the reconsideration rules apply. It's the board's
And as
preference.
chairman, I agree with that. And I was going to make that a ruling as chair. So I think what's in order is if anybody wants to consider this, a motion would be in order to waive Robert's Rules of Order, or a motion from the prevailing party to reconsider this item.
I'd like to make a motion to waive Robert's rules.
Is there a second? A motion dies for lack of a second. So our original action stands from the last meeting. Okay, we will now enter. We don't hear that. It's not being heard. Okay, we will go to our second public.
Oh, there's a card.
From J3. J3 is not being heard. It was disposed of in the last meeting and it died.
So can I make a comment during public comment and not
You can.
violate the rules about discussing something on the agenda?
You can comment whatever you want to. There's no limit under public comment once you. Did you have he has a card already. Yeah. Okay. Rick Heffelfinger.
Rick Heffelfinger, District 1. Now that that item's off the agenda, I'd like to talk about it a little. Waiving Robert's rules. How many times have I seen, I don't have a specific list, where we're pretty fast and loose with Robert's rules around here? Maybe it was previous more. I think, Chairman Altman, you do a better job. But this item was trying to push for some transparency. She's on her way out. Can't you just cut her a little slack and hear the item and reconsider? She's trying to leave something that she started, and she's got to go now. Not her choice. She's got an opportunity. And you guys will block it at every opportunity. I hear a lot of pushback. She's leaving. Give her a gift. At least don't try to block her agenda that she promised to us, that she was going to get us some transparency. You don't seem to want to do anything with that. It looks bad. The optics are bad, that you guys don't really want to hear from us. I don't know if that's true. Again, I assume you make an ass out of you and me when we do that. But it's for her constituents. She promised this stuff. But you guys don't seem to want to do it for, I don't know what your constituents think. I would be concerned. You look like you're blocking transparency and openness and care, showing some concern for your, because this is not just for D1. This is for everybody in the county who wants to come up, do a SEER, have some time, have a policy that says it's going to be heard, and you're going to actually get some action, and you're going to get it in writing. See, you make a comment through the public, just going through and making a suggestion to the county. Is that written down anywhere? That's why I said with the garbage, I'm going to follow up and say when the garbage contract comes up, I said, hey, I made some suggestions. Can we talk about those? I hope that Mr. Walker is keeping that and has passed that along, but I don't know that. The SEER is a documented thing. It gets, you guys either say yay or nay, and then people can go, wow, I tried to help. I guess I'll try again next year. Or, hey, you're right. They don't do that. Maybe there's an avenue. But not supporting that program looks bad. It does. That's all I had to say about that one. I got minutes and all right. Well, I'll catch that next time. But again, I really don't like the fact that it seems like ever since she's been in this position, and we hate to see her go, and we hope we get somebody that continues that, but boy, you guys are just brutal to her. That's all I had.
Thank you for your public comment. Is there any other cards for public comment? None. We will go to board reports. County Manager.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. I have a handout for each of you, the item to talk about. I already gave a copy to the clerk's office. With Commissioner Delaney leaving on May 2nd, I just put together a little sheet, more talking points for me to discuss this with you, options for operating a District 1 office during the vacancy. We've had this case back in Commissioner Lober, I believe it was 2022. And I've already forgot the dates. And then we also had the same issue with Commissioner Zonka in 23 or 24 of how to keep the office operating and the staff members. So we see four different discussion points or four different ideas. One is to retain the remaining District 1 staff member, Kristen Lordy. The other two members have resigned. They'll be no longer employed by May 2nd. Item number 2 is appoint an interim District 1 staff member as appointing authority for the office. Idea number 3 is other commissioner offices take the phone calls, emails, and other communications. Idea number 4 is county staff takes phone calls, emails, and other communications. Underneath, we just put some talking points in there, the things to consider of, how often would you have the office open? How would citizen input be routed to other commissioners if it's handled by other commission offices? What do you do when there's a policy issue if staff's handling it? Or how do you go about appointing staff members? What we're looking for is for the board to give direction on who the appointing authority staff-wise would be for the office, why it's vacant. I remind you that, under Commissioner Lober, it was in April, and the governor did not fill that slot, and that, it got filled by election in November. Commissioner Zonka, I believe it was just a couple weeks between that, and that office was filled by Governor DeSantis. So I would recommend or remind the commissioners that we should be planning that office should be vacant till the November when the swearing is, which is like the third Tuesday of November. If the governor appoints somebody earlier, then that commissioner can appoint their own staff members at that time. So I'm open to directions and ideas.
I just want to bring forward that Lober, when this happened, there was no chance given for him to give any input or bring this conversation up due to the way that that situation happened. His quick exit. And Commissioner Zonka, she was the one who brought it up for her staff. And so I just want to throw it out there that I was willing to bring this up, and I was told that the county manager was bringing it up. So I'm wondering about why that was the case when other commissioners had been afforded the opportunity to make decisions about their office, when I'm not being afforded that same opportunity. Kristen has been somebody that's been in my office, and she's been incredible to not only myself, but to the constituents. She's, almost never taken any time off. She's always there and professional, and she knows the community. And especially during this time of vacancy, I think that for District 1, it would be it would be a good thing for them if they had a familiar face in my office, just because they've already built the relationships. They've, she's done the work. And so that would be my recommendation, to retain her. That way, when the new commissioner comes in, there's some cohesive change of power and whatnot, and at that time, the new commissioner can make their own decision about staff. That would be my recommendation.
Okay, is there any other discussion on that? If not, I think you should put that in the form of a motion. I think the reason staff brought this to us is appropriate, because they acknowledge they're not the one that would make this decision. It's got to come from the board itself. So
Well,
I think if the staff is looking for direction, the board needs to give them direction.
Well, can I ask a technical question? In lieu of some motion or what have you today, what then happens?
So if the board doesn't do anything, first of all, the commissioner is still the appointing authority until May 2nd. So the board can't do anything that's effective immediately. The board could only do something effective following that. Following that, if there's no action
So we could bring this
take-
up after, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but.
No problem.
We don't have to take action today. We could bring it up after the May 2nd timeframe.
You may, sir, you could take action today, or you could bring it up at the next meeting on May 5, or however the board
If I
wishes to
may,
proceed. But to,
the issue would be, though, that May 2nd, that would be, if my understanding is correct, May 2nd, because I'm no longer here, it would also take away my appointment, because it's a point of service position, is that correct? And so between May 2nd and May 5th, my constituents wouldn't have anybody in the office to answer the phones.
no, I think that because your term doesn't expire on May 2nd, you're just leaving the office. I think at that point, the board becomes the appointing authority, and because Ms. Lordy's already been appointed, she would continue on until the board takes other action or appoints someone else as the appointing authority to take other action.
So if we did nothing, nothing changes.
If you do nothing, nothing changes with regard to Ms. Lordy's position.
Right. Okay.
And so you could just revisit it at the May 5th meeting?
If we
also,
chose.
If that's,
My only thing is that if there is something different that's going to happen, I request respectfully that we do a kindness and we don't leave this hanging, because it's already been brought up now. So, I think that it's only fair. Imagine if it was one of your chiefs of staff not knowing,
I like to sort of split something. As part of this today, okay, we could give direction today for a formal letter to be sent to the governor requesting that an interim appointment be made. I don't have to weigh in on who or what, but
I don't agree with that at all.
an interim appointment?
To my seat?
Well, we're talking about possibly whether the governor's going to pick someone to serve in the role or not.
I think that's an excellent idea.
I don't think that this board should be saying who should be sitting in my seat.
I'm not saying, I don't think he said who. He didn't say
not at
who.
all.
I just think the board, we need to let the governor know.
I think there's some question of whether the governor will.
Yeah.
I think there's he certainly can.
Historically, he's not done that. And
He hasn't done that?
he has not done that historically.
Well, they did do it with Commissioner Zonka.
Right, but if you
And-
look across the state historically, you know this.
No, no, actually, he
done
doesn't, sorry, respectfully, he doesn't have to. I think there's some question of shall. Isn't there, the governor shall appoint? Or let me rephrase. The appointment, if there is one, is the governor's to make.
It's the governor's to make, and the Constitution and the statutory do use the mandatory language shall, but that does not mean there will be an appointment.
Okay.
I think that's an interesting legal question, because I agree with Commissioner Feltner. I trust the governor.
My
I
constituents do not
let me-
want an appointment from the governor. I'm just going to put that
Well,
out
let
there.
me finish. This is before the board. It's improper for the public to be interrupting us as well as, let's
And
don't
if-
talk over
if
each other.
we're
Let me finish
doing-
my point. I agree with Commissioner Feltner. I'd love to see the governor make this appointment. I don't think the seat should go
We could
vacant.
even split it another way. Let me.
I hope everybody's seeing this on
Yeah.
at home.
Hold on.
Are you saying you don't want the governor to appoint?
Absolutely not. I
Oh,
want
wow.
the people of D1 to decide who is their
Well,
commissioner.
they're going to decide.
Absolutely.
They will, respectfully, they will decide that in November. That is going
It
to happen.
doesn't matter.
won't
They still
change
have
that.
to endure. You have no idea what the constituents have had to endure over these years. Why do you think I got elected here? Why do you think? I got elected here because these people out here haven't been listened to in decades. They do not trust the government. I don't know how much clearly people have to say that.
Well, the governor also got elected overwhelmingly as well, and I think
If
when
you
the
poll
people
my
are...
D1 constituents, I can promise you they do not want an appointment from the governor.
Commissioner Atkinson, she hasn't had the floor, and then I'll follow up with Commissioner.
I was just going to make
Okay.
one last suggestion, and
Okay.
then I'll stop here. We could just simply formally inquire whether an appointment is going to be made or not. And if he responds to us, no, one will not be made, with that information, we can make a better decision on May 5th. If he says an appointment is coming, then we could also make a decision on May 5th of what to do with the office. I mean, just having some directive from the governor's office on that question, I think would be helpful for the board. Well, just having no answer from the governor's office is
Okay,
I
I
think
agree.
difficult.
I think it's a good
I have
point.
something to add.
Let's have Commissioner Atkinson have a voice here.
Thank you, I
So-
appreciate it. I would just like to state for the records, for the board to understand that I also would not support requesting the governor to make an appointment to this commission. Just want everybody to hear that.
Okay.
Again, I think that's fine. You could simply ask if one's going to happen. If one's going to happen, okay. If one's not going to happen, okay too. Now we have that information, and we can make a better decision. That's all.
What we're talking
Okay.
about today, and what we're given the opportunity to give direction on is my staff and my office. And so I personally don't think that we should be bugging the governor with this. I don't think that the D1 constituents want an appointment from the governor, and I think it should be just left alone. And what we are talking about today is who is going to, answer the phones and handle constituent services and things like that in my office between now and November, the third Tuesday of November. And so what my recommendation would be to leave in place the person that my constituents knows, and do that. So that would be my motion, to leave Kristen Lortie as the point person for the D1 office from now until the new commissioner comes in.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second to the motion? That motion dies for lack of second.
I have
Sir?
another motion.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we bring this back to the May 5th meeting for discussion by the board.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
There's a
Discussion.
motion, second discussion.
First of all, I have one question, and Morris, do we have to allow for public input because we're making motions?
Not on this
And voting.
motion, not if they're just moving it to the 5th. They can have public input at the 5th.
Okay. One thing that I would ask to consider, again, because think about it again, if this was your chief of staff, and would you want their position to be unknown, for another 2.5 weeks? And, I just don't think that that's fair or a kindness to my staff that has served this district loyally and fully. So I really hope that this motion fails and we can continue further discussion today so that Kristen has some idea of what her future looks like, and that doesn't have to hang over her head for a few more weeks.
Any further debate? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying yay.
Yay.
Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Commissioner Goodson, I didn't hear. Pardon me?
Yay.
Yeah, okay. Motion passes on a 4-1 vote, with Commissioner Delaney voting against. Okay, any other items under County Manager's report?
No, thank you. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
County Attorney?
No report, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
No report. District 1?
I have a question. Would I be able to have my report last, since it is my last meeting?
Sure.
Thank you.
District 2?
None, sir.
Thank you. District 3?
None, sir.
No report. District 4?
I'd say two things. We could still ask the chair even to call the office of the governor to ask if an appointment will be made.
You know, I don't think I need board approval to do that.
I don't
Any
think we need.
commissioner can call the governor's
just trying
office.
to get an answer for the board.
I agree.
Just an answer, a very simple answer. It's going to happen or it's not. I'm
going to make that inquiry on a personal level.
All right. I think that's good. Yeah. And so finally, art show in Wickham Park this weekend. It's always a great one. So go to Wickham Park and look at the many artists who will be there this weekend.
Great. Okay, I have no report, and I think that concludes. Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Thank you. No
I'm
worries.
so sorry. Commissioner Delaney.
Thank you
I'm so
so
used to
much.
going in that chronological
That's
order.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I got all mixed up. All right, I'm just going to wing it. Logan, will you go to the next slide? So we had a citizens engagement event the other day, and it was really great. We had it up in the Space Coast room, and where I went through and talked to the citizens from all over the county about how do they get informed. So we walked through the county website, and I helped them all find, the agenda, where do you find the backup documents, all that kind of stuff. We had about 20 people there, and they were all really excited to learn about all this, and that way they could get more informed and engaged with the county government. And if you wouldn't mind going to the next slide. I have a Substack with the same information, and I'm not going to play the video, but there is a video on there that walks you through how to go through the calendar and the agenda and find the backup details. That way, if anybody wants to get informed, all this information is out there. And even though it takes a little finagling to get used to the website, it's not that hard. And I know that there are loads of citizen advocates that are out there that would help walk anybody through. You could always contact me. I'll help anyone walk through this, even after I'm no longer in Brevard. But definitely check out that Substack if you're interested, because it'll give you that tutorial to walk right through our website. If you wouldn't mind going to the next one. I don't know if I have another slide. I think that's it. I also wanted to give a shout out to Lieutenant Manley. We had a resident that has a situation going on, and he came with me because there was a police report that needed to be made, and I just got to give him a shout out. It's a very intense situation, and just his professionalism, his care and concern for our resident, and the situation. It's not every day that you have a mayor, a commissioner, and a deputy in your living room. So I just really want to give him a shout out for just how fantastic he was, and showing that resident that, he really cared about their situation and the follow-through there. Because this didn't get to be brought up, I just want to read a couple things and give a little explanation about why I brought back that financial transparency item. And it's because of the overwhelming feedback I got from the community. I got multiple phone calls after our last meeting in regard to that item, just in shock. And I mean, this one's from District 1, and they, are in support. This one's from Merritt Island, and they were in some serious shock that item didn't go forward. This one is, I'm not sure where he's from, but it came to all of our emails. District 2, I think it was, because Commissioner Goodson's staff member responded to him. And then this one's from Melbourne, also supporting. Another one from Melbourne. And I don't know any of these people, except for one. And so this is not, like I galvanized people and said, hey, go email all the commissioners. No, this is just feedback that we got just from the people that were watching this meeting. And I really hope and pray that this board considers bringing this item back forward and making this change, because it's going to, it will really help people. And I understand that you don't want the agendas to be too lengthy, but people are really trying to figure out how to get informed. And when you're not part of the government, it's really difficult because you don't know who to call, who to contact, what to do, what websites are out there, what resources are out there. You have no idea. And so this is just one small thing that we could do to help our constituents get more informed. And just because I didn't get to say it last meeting, I just really appreciate all the staff. I know at times, I asked for a lot from you all, and I just really appreciate the hard work and the information and the kindness, the patience that you all have given me, and I really appreciate that a lot. And board, while we don't always agree all the time, it's truly been an honor to serve with you all, and I will always be praying for this board and for this community. And thank you all so much.
And thank you for your willingness to serve. I think that's concludes the meeting. We will see you at 1 o'clock at the budget workshop. Looking forward to that. Commissioner Feltner,
If you haven't been to the new olive tree in Vieira, today's a beautiful day, and this is a great time to do it. And getting there before 11:30 means you can get a table, and you can be back here by 1 o'clock.
That's some really good advice.
All right, go have a salad.
Thank you. Meeting's adjourned.
The opinions expressed by any member of the public during any period of public comment do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, Space Coast Government Television, or the program sponsor, and are solely those of the presenter. The Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, Space Coast Government Television, and the program sponsor hereby expressly disclaim any and all responsibility or liability for any defamatory or slanderous statements expressed by any member of the public during any such period.